Hello and welcome to Midweek Gaming. It's Wednesday once again, and for once this week it's been an absolute scorcher in Britain. It's too effing hot, but that's what I was Brits like to moan about. It was raining last week. Now it's too hot. It's what we do. It is. But anyway, if you want to check out a good gaming website, please check out www.bg4ghub.com for the latest news, independent reviews and opinion pieces and so much more. If you'd like a good graphic done, as you can see, Crispy Bomb's graphic there and my graphic by the graphic god, go to www.xboxgamerpics.com. How you doing, Crispy? And thanks for coming on this week's guest. Crispy
Always
Bomb.
a pleasure, gentlemen. And yes, I do have Wednesdays off, so this is one way to enjoy a Wednesday. Have a beer and talk to you gentlemen about some games. I'm ready for it. Let's do it.
Exactly. Have you been playing many games, or have we just been playing Gears?
It's been tough lately, dude. Like the work thing has taken over, getting a new manager and stuff like that. It's always fun, and people are still hoarding meat, which is interesting.
Really?
Yes, they are buying much more than my stores used to, and it has continued all the way from last year. So
just chuck it in the freezer. Is that what they're doing? Just chucking it in the freezer?
But that's the weird thing. It's like, if it's all gonna end, that meat ain't gonna last. You better buy some canned goods, people. Like, but in all seriousness, I mean, I've been dabbling in things, and I always end up back at Gears because I have so many people on my friends list playing it, and you know, it's just it's the easy thing to go back to. But yeah, it's always fun getting in with the community on, especially the game nights when I can and stuff like that. So always fun.
Yeah, it's like I regret having a break from Gears for 2 months because I was kind of all right 2 months ago, and I'm trying to get back into Gears, but I'm just trash at the minute.
You've regressed. Very good. It's okay, I regressed too. I haven't played it enough. Yeah. I went into Doom Eternal for a little bit. Like, you know, like I keep trying to beat the game, and it's so damn like I was like, should I just put it on easy? I'm like, no, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I can't go to that crap mode there, as we like to call it. But
hey!
I knew that was coming.
There is nothing wrong with playing a game on easy.
I have a problem with playing a game on easy, even though I don't beat many games because of it. I have a problem doing that. I don't. For me, not you. you do what you want. For me, it's not right when I know I can get through the game on at least normal. So I get it, especially, you know, for you, Paul, but for me, I can't bring myself to do that. You know what I'm saying?
And it's nothing personal, but it's the way people put that sometimes. Like somehow there's
no.
a stigma.
There's certain people that literally use easy to get achievements, and that is all. You understand what I'm saying?
But I've also seen the post. You know, you've seen them too. The post where they need to remove easy mode. You know, they should never have an easy. I'm like, kiss my ass.
I also disagree. I also disagree with people saying that games like Returnal shouldn't have an easy mode, because it should.
Yeah.
Because then it would at least people that because that game looks extremely hard. I wouldn't even bother picking it up. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not touching it. Even if they were to give it to me for free with a PS5, I'd be like, nope, I'm good.
But that's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And I'll lead into you, Paul. How you doing? And have you been playing many games?
I've been mostly playing Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition. Enjoying it. There are parts of it that I'm playing again going, oh yeah, I remember why I hated this part of the game. Speaking of parts that are a little too difficult. But yeah, enjoying that, having a lot of fun there. But actually, amazingly enough, that's pretty much the only game I've been playing for the last week or so.
This is actually a shocking revelation for you.
I know. Usually I bounce between like 5-6 games.
That's all you need to know. It must be a very good game.
Yeah,
it's even Mr. Tucci. It's taking his attention. He's not part of a community game night. He's not playing many games, and he's got to get up early in the morning. So that's for work. So that's why he's not here tonight, people. If you did wonder why he's not on the show, that's why.
Yep. His work schedule is kicking his butt.
It is. It is.
Yep.
And Animated Evil. Thanks for stopping in.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Have you been playing Yakuza all the time still?
No. This week we have switched to. Well, I've been listening to a book on Audible, which was it's all about magic and things like that, and I just thought I really need something really big and fantasy wise. So I was torn between Skyrim, going back into it, and Dragon Age, which I've never really played that much. So I did a little poll on Twitter, and Skyrim won.
Okay.
So when I put it in, it turns out I've not played that game for 2.5 years.
I've never played it.
Yep. So I started again at the beginning, and it's awesome. It really is with the FPS boost and the auto HDR. It's a thing of difference. It really is.
That's good to
hear. I didn't see that poll, but if you haven't played Dragon Age, you need to. Dragon Age is actually so
I have
good.
it installed. I have it installed because Lupus said that's a game you need to see with FPS boost. That's the one, isn't it? I've got one of them. She said it looks a lot better with the FPS boost. I haven't tried it yet.
The thing is with Skyrim, what you find, what the worst thing about Skyrim playing it back a few years ago was them loading times, baby. Jesus Christ. You would fast travel and it'd be like a minute and a half. You're like, oh, is this still loading? It kind of pulls you out, and it's loading in like 4 seconds on the Series S. It's just
that's nice.
It is. It really
it's made
is.
us a bit snobby though as well because my son plays some games on his Xbox One S, and I'm like, prehistoric technology. I'll come back in a minute. Give us a shout. It's like it's taking too long. He's loading up Minecraft or something. It's taking too long, but that's because we're used to the speed to the new consoles. It is.
Oh yeah, you get spoiled by the new console. I'm still missing mine till it gets back from it, and I won't see mine till after I move now, because for the return address after service, I'm having it send it straight to my new place. That way, I don't have to deal with taking it with me.
Wow,
that's fair enough. That is. Yeah, sounds like you've been playing some good games animated.
I have.
Now, VJ, how are you?
Oh, hello. Yep. I just wanted to know who's what shampoo companies are sponsoring Paul's hairdo. It's definitely a cut above the rest.
You like that? Yeah. I've always been known for my hair. I always have had nice hair. I like the fact that I have very nice hair.
Yeah, me, I just shave it off at this point. Just call it a day.
Yeah,
I do. I've not got a lot of hair. That's all I do. I don't even go hairdressers. My missus does it. It's not worth it. It's a handful of hair. I'm not paying a tenner for someone to cut my hair when they can get it done for free. Literally, you pick it up off the floor and it's literally not even a handful. I don't have a lot of hair.
Yeah. Luckily, all mine is on my head, not on my back. So,
fair enough. Yeah. Are you enjoying Mass Effect, VJ? Is that the new game you're playing for the moment? Because you completed Octopath Traveler, haven't you?
Yeah, I finished Octopath Traveler. I played Mass Effect back in the day when it was released. I kind of just pulled the trigger on Mass Effect. I was going to play Final Fantasy 12, but I kind of thought, let's give Mass Effect a go. And it's pretty good. I think I'm coming to the end of part 1. So I'll definitely be kickstarting parts 2 and 3 at some point. And I think it might last me up until, I think, the Ascent. But if not, there's quite a few games in Game Pass I still want to play. So busy boy.
I blame Mr.
Are you sure? Because because VJ, we're told that Xbox has no games, so
Oh God!
No, I think,
here we go.
I don't think
it'd be hard to find something to play.
But the thing is, it's down to the company that you hold, Paul. Right? If you fraternize with imbecilic people, then they will tell you that. But the fact of the situation is that even though we've seen very little from Microsoft, is the facts have changed, right? The situation has changed. They have plenty of games in development, and that's
I'm just saying. Not only that I have not played all the games on Game Pass. I literally have still probably 100 titles I could go through and go, I haven't played that one yet.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Game Pass as a digital buffet is not every game is for every person. I think what Phil often says, look, we're trying to establish Game Pass because it's still definitely not the finished article by any stretch of the imagination. They're trying to make sure that it's got content in there that appeals to a wide audience, right? So, and I think,
and I've said it before that as a disabled gamer, it allows me to try things I wouldn't normally try. Yeah.
I get that. I get that. But I'm just someone that if I find a game I like it, I have to complete it before I can move on to another game.
Oh, you're a single game guy? See, I'm not. I'm definitely not a single game guy.
That's a good trait, VJ. That is because you complete games. Because
I thought, to be honest with you, to be totally honest with you, I think it was on Boom's channel. And Boom said, what are you looking forward to in terms of, what these next gen systems can offer you? And I said, you know what, Boom, I'm kind of the guy that just sticks to playing one game. And this quick resume feature, I'm really hoping that it might break an old habit. But unfortunately, it hasn't.
It really is. It's a good habit to have because I have major issues completing an entire game. Like, it took me forever to beat like Fallout 3 or Fallout 4. Like, because I'm also a completionist. So as I'm in there, I'm like, oh, I got to rebuild this settlement or something like that. And like Fallout 4. And I'm like, I think I'm very close to the end. But it's just like, everything that's going on in that game. I'm like, can you tone it down a little bit? Like, I can't even focus on the story anymore. Like, you know what I mean?
I completely understand.
Well, and it's, if even for me, for somebody who's not a single player guy, a single game person, when it comes to like November, December, when it's game after game after game, it's like, Jesus Christ, I get a week to play this game before this other new game comes out. Then, it's hard not to jump ship and go look at the other new game.
It's true.
I think we've all got different rates of digestion or indigestion, should I say?
Indigestion. There you go.
We have. So we're going to go to the first topic. I mean, it's slightly changed. I mean, we try and get through all of them, but I couldn't not talk about this God of War news that's dropped. So I'm going to firstly read you a statement, and then I'm going to read you what PlayStation said about some of their games going forward. This is an official statement for Santa Monica Studios. Since the release of the next God of War teaser last year, we have been humbled by the amount of love our community has shown us. We're incredibly grateful to see so many people excited to experience the next chapter of Kratos' journey. We remain focused on delivering a top quality game while maintaining the safety and well-being of our team, creative partners and families. With this in mind, we've made the decision to shift our release window to 2022. Thank you all for your continued support, and we've got some exciting things in the works that we can't wait to share with you. And that's what Sony Santa Monica has said. I'm just going to get the little bit up that everyone's going crazy about at the minute on Twitter and being childish. I'll just get it up. I will. But I'll be honest, if you're a gamer and you expected that game to actually ship this year, I think you're a little bit deluded with the way the world is at the minute. I'll just find a little the bit everyone's talking about. Where we go? Just find it. There we go. Right. How does the PS4 factor into PlayStation Studios' development vision? Is it a focus internally for future games development? It very much is. You can't. I think I've gone too forward there. Sorry about this. Wait a minute. Perhaps the biggest challenge has been when we need specialist locations, often physical locations, primarily performance capture audio work. We've come up with some really clever solutions to some of this. We've built tiny recording studios in people's houses, so I'm guessing that means they've actually paid for a lot of equipment to be sent out to some of the voice actors that are working on God of War, so they can do it in top quality. But when you're doing performance capture for a lot of cinematics with multiple actors, that's not so simple to solve. So you've got a choice. You could do it later in the schedule, which could cause you problems, or you could risk the final product by doing it in a different way. But I can tell you, we're not going to risk quality. We want to ship extremely high quality games, finished games, and we have to do that obviously without pushing our teams to the breaking point. We currently have 2 very big narrative driven games in development, Horizon Forbidden West and the next God of War, and for both of these they frankly are affected by the access to performance capture and talent. For Horizon, we think we're on track to release this holiday, but it isn't quite certain yet. We're working as hard as we can, and we can confirm that to you as soon as we can. And for God of War, the project started a little later, so we've made the decision to push the game out next year to ensure that Sony Santa Monica Studio can deliver amazing God of War games for all to play. And the next bit was, how does the PS4 factor into PlayStation Studio development vision? Is it to focus internally for future games development? It is very much. You can't build a community at over 110 million on PS4 and then just walk away from it, right? I think that's bad news for fans for the PS4 and frankly not very good business. Where it makes sense to develop a title for both PS4 and PS5, for Horizon Forbidden West, the next God of War, Gran Turismo 7, we'll continue to look at that. And if PS4 owners want to play that game, then they can. If you want to go on and play the PS5 version, that game will be there for them. That being said, it's very important to have showpieces for the PS5, hence the development of Returnal and Ratchet and Clank are exclusive to the PS5. Now, I know, here's my interpretation. Obviously, God of War, any extra production time is great for the game. It always is with any game. The same with Halo. That year's probably really helped the development. And it probably, maybe 2021 was a bit of a target, but they don't need two big games to release in 1 year. Now, although what he said there, he hasn't actually confirmed that God of War is going to be on the PS4 or Gran Turismo 7. Now, it does sound like that, because it goes. This is the bit where he technically hasn't confirmed it. We'll continue looking at that. So he's left it open-ended. And I think, this is my view, I think PlayStation are going to look at what people think of it. Because obviously a lot of people have run to YouTube and said, oh, PS4 going to be, God of War's going to be on the PS4. It's not actually a confirmation. It's just, it's quite open-ended. Now, most likely from business-wise, it would make very, very good sense because not many people have got a PS5 compared to the PS4. So if you were a businessman, you'd say, well, 110 million PS4s and 8 million PS5s. That's a lot of copies we could sell. Or we're just going to sell 8 million copies. There's 8 million PS5s out there. That's not good business sense. That's my view. But he technically, by the wording, he hasn't actually confirmed it. He just left it open-ended, which obviously everyone's going to jump to that conclusion. Most of them games probably will end up on the PS4. But I just think it might be there just to get the consensus out and see what the PlayStation fan base think about it. Because I've seen people on Twitter, and it's stupid, moan about this. Certain Xbox people and PlayStation people that love the whole no gamer left behind and all games should be made for all consoles. So now PlayStation is suggesting it. They're all laughing. I don't get it because everyone benefits from playing on the older hardware. Everyone gets to have a go at that new game. So I just don't understand why people would do that. It's all about games. End of the day, more people can play it. You got any thoughts on this, VJ? And I bet everyone's shocked. I've never talked for so long.
Oh, hello. Yeah, no, I was shocked as well. I mean, when I made a cup of
know.
tea, I think it'd be rude not to let our esteemed guest go first.
Yes, you're right. Sorry, Crispy. You got any thoughts on this?
You know, it's quite funny that we are going completely full circle at this point. How many people trashed Xbox for supporting the Xbox One generation as we went into the Series generation? A whole hell of a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those people right now are probably saying this is fine, which it is. Let's be honest here. It is completely fine to support 100 million players that still have your console. It only makes sense.
Is.
Now,
money.
And not just money, but also, you know, you don't have the availability that you would like for any of these consoles at this point. The one problem Sony has right now is that the versions of these third-party games are going to cause problems. And this is where it comes into smart delivery and other things that Xbox has done. Okay? Xbox thought about this. They already went that route. They also brought out a $300 console. So at that point, the price point is so low to get into the next generation that I'm starting to believe that Xbox is going to be pushing out games only for the Series generation mid to late year next year. And they're going to have availability because of the price point of the Series S to say this is justified for us. And it's only going to be first party. These third party games is where it comes into play. Like, you know, how are these devs going to handle this at this point? Because the architectures are technically the same, but everybody acts like the older consoles hold back, especially third-party games at this point. So we have to question the whole thought process in the beginning of saying we believe in generations and all that stuff. I mean, how big is Sony's nose going to get like Pinocchio till you say, what the hell is going on over there? Because I feel like we hear something from somebody else in another week. That's what I'm waiting for. Somebody else going to say something different, okay? And it's at this point, I have no interest in purchasing a PlayStation. Are there first-party games? Great. Absolutely. But I'm not going to play any third-party there. So when it collects dust because they're single-player games and I'm not really into that, why buy it to begin with? And you could say what you want. Oh, you're not a gamer or whatever. Hey, dude, understand this. I played single player my whole damn life by myself in my room. Okay? I want to play with other people. I want games. If they're going to be a AAA game, I'm not going to say the last part of it because you know everybody brings that up. But if it's going to be a AAA game, at this point in my life, I expect that game to not only have a decent single player, but a decent multiplayer. Notice I didn't say great. I said decent. Because at the end of the day, if I'm going to purchase a game or the game's going to be on Game Pass like I get with Xbox, then I say, you know what? My judgment is upon what I can do in that game. And until Last of Us 2 brings out their multiplayer, when's the last time you've seen a game from Sony that has a multiplayer attached? It's been a long time. That's why I call for the SOCOMs, the kill zones. They used to be a big multiplayer gaming, part of the world. Like it literally, they even had the 56K backup into your original PlayStation 2. They thought of all of those things. You know what I mean? And then it had a DSL backup after. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get where they're going with this because we've already heard them say that they're going to support PlayStation 4 much longer. And the problem with that is at some point, the SSD architecture, more than anything, is going to become a problem for these third-party games. And to use that SSD, which is for both consoles, And to actually use the power of it, you have to develop for only the new generation, not the old one. So I think we're kind of stuck at this point within a 2 to 3 year period between both. And the only thing I see is that some of these games are going to be first party exclusive to the new gen. But I feel like PlayStation, because they rely on their first party so much, will not go that route as quickly as Xbox would.
I would agree with that, because it wouldn't. I do understand what you're saying. You like to have a game, a strong campaign, and a decent multiplayer. But for a lot of them, Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War, a multiplayer would never work. It wouldn't.
Yeah, and I'm not hating on it. There's a place for these games. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, your first party offerings are nearly identical in feeling. That's what I see. Now, yeah, I haven't played them all, but I've played a few, and I've been like, okay, we got a bow and arrow. You're riding a horse. You're looking at this person in a third person perspective. There are cinematic cutscenes all over the place. There is quick time events when you're fighting something, which makes it more cinematic and look great, but in technicality, you're pressing one button. So for me, gameplay is king. You know what I'm saying? And when the gameplay is seamless with the small little quick time events, not all the time, it feels like, I'm good with that. But I feel like when you go from title to title, there's only a few that really are outliers. Like Ratchet and Clank is an outlier for them. Like Spider-Man is an outlier, because even though there's slight quick time button presses, you actually go into more combos, just like a Batman Arkham Knight or something like that. So
yeah,
I don't understand why people are just fine with it, because at some point, these younger gamers who only play on mobile or are sitting there playing Fortnite all the time are not going to be interested. And either we're going to be 6 feet under, or we're going to be, just not interested in playing the same game over and over again. Because at some point, somebody, like myself, is going to be like, dude, this is the same game with a new skin. That's all it is. That's all it feels like. And once people start getting to that point, Sony ain't going to have nothing to rely on. And you look at like Godfall, for example, game tanked. I mean, even Returnal right now. I mean, nobody wants to. I'll tell you right now, Returnal had so many problems that it should have been taken off, just like Cyberpunk was, which Cyberpunk is still not on there. Are you kidding me?
Still not. Still not. No.
I think I mentioned that last week. That why is Returnal still on there when it's having as many problems that are in some ways the same as Cyberpunk did, but it's still on the store and Cyberpunk's not.
I as a gamer at this point have to keep my energy, and like, dude, like I call out games that even I love, like Gears, and say they have problems, which we're going to get into that. But the whole point is if you don't hold the console you prefer against the fire, as I like to call it, and say you need to do better, and if you don't do that as a gamer on there primarily, then it's your problem. And I shouldn't even have to speak on it, but of course I have to, because at the end of the day, I played on PlayStation. I just broke playing on Xbox longer than PlayStation last year. Okay, I played on PlayStation for 12 years straight. I didn't even have an interest in Xbox until I picked up Gears of War. That is the first time I ever. Yeah. So I'm telling you, like, people will say, I'm like, dude, like, there was none of this achievement stuff, none of this stuff back then. I had no interest in it. Like, dude, my achievement score is crap, bro. But I also, guess what? I lost my account. I played on a silver account for 3 years on 360 because I couldn't afford gold. And guess what? When I put the gold back in, they said your account does not exist. And I said, oh great. What? So I lost everything. And I called them up too, and they're like, it's gone. You haven't been on. You haven't paid in 3 years. It's gone. So, I had probably 20,000 gamers. I lost it. So, from then on, I made sure that I kept my account. And it does say in the fine print, like, you got like a year, and then, they start taking off, people's names. Because if you don't, you're not in the system. Yeah, but now you have no option. You don't have silver until just recently. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things like these gaming companies need to get their heads out of their asses, start realizing that the consumers are more informed than usual. This isn't the days where we're reading magazines and stuff. These are the days when you're putting out Twitter posts, and then your higher up is putting out another Twitter post saying something else, and that's what I call on PlayStation. You guys gotta get in the same room or something. I don't know, like get on the same damn Zoom call. I just don't get it.
It seems a point you made there, Crispy. There's they don't hold their consoles accountable. I think too many opinionated players, both sides, hold their console on a pedestal rather than holding them to what they should be doing. They're like, "Oh, look how great it is," and that's wrong.
Where I've always stressed that, and people hear me harp on Sony a lot, but it comes down to they're making more mistakes than Microsoft is right now. When Microsoft makes a mistake, I'm loud and proud about that too, but they just don't do it as often. I'm sorry, they don't.
That is true, but on all fronts, PlayStation's absolutely dominating, big time. Financials, everything. Xbox can't keep up with them.
From what we know, I mean, still a lot of stuff's not reported, or they even, you can tell by looking at the numbers that they're kind of so. But I don't care about that. I don't care who's dominating. This is a weird year. We've had COVID. It's affected all the companies.
Oh, I agree.
So
but I mean, from a business when you look at that, they're doing stuff, very well.
But when you look at that stuff, I still look at it and go, so what? It doesn't affect me as a consumer, that Sony sold X amount more consoles. They've also had, the part they're not telling you is how many of those consoles have been returned because they're not working. It's like,
I've heard from people that work in electronic retail. Electronic retail, Best
stupid.
Buy. Like literally, like people are like, it's not good. It's actually they brought up something. One of the guys I was talking, because I was like, I want, and I saw people like bringing in PS5s, and I'm like, oh, is that like they bringing it back? Is it for sale? They're like, no. They're like, dude, this is as bad as a Red Ring of Death. And I said, what? I said, say what? I was like, so what's with that? Like, are you serious? He's like, dude, I've worked here for 20 years. He works at Best Buy. He's a manager. He's like, I saw this with Xbox. The only thing that Xbox did was very easy, and I had the experience. Now, granted, I sent it back. They sent it back again. It broke. I sent it back again. It broke. Finally, they just gave me a refund. But at least they goddamn tried. And it's just like, it's like PlayStation's kind of hush about it. And that's the problem. Like, dude, like you will go and say stuff like this on Twitter or put out an article or do whatever, have interviews, but you won't speak about the things that, and I see plenty of PlayStation gamers being like, dude, look at that Returnal thing. That's messed up, dude. Because of the way the game's set up, if you get freaking, if it resets or does whatever, like, and you're on this great run, you're about to beat the game. I mean, freaking Mr. Badbit just talked about that the other night. Like, dude, come on, man. Like that's messed up, dude. Like, then have a save point, have more save points, something like. Is that like? I'm sorry, I don't think that's like gonna break the code of the game. Like, I think you could put a save point in there if you're gonna have problems like that. You know what I mean? But people hated on games that Xbox had that had no issues like that. You could still beat the game, but you just had to restart from the last checkpoint, not the whole thing over. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I call it like I see it, and at this point, it's like, don't talk out of both sides of your mouth, man. Like, you want me to purchase your account, you want me to get into this ecosystem again. I need more than what I'm seeing for me. For me, my opinion.
Well, and the whole thing is, like you said, it's like the Red Ring of Death, except where we had the ability to send in Xbox, they'd either repair it or send us a new one. Right now, PS5 doesn't have that option. They don't have the new ones to send out.
Do you remember, Cerebral, Paul? Xbox were taken to court over that and had to pay over $2 or $3 billion. That wasn't Xbox volunteering up. they got forced to do that by law. So
but
it weren't them
once
going.
once they did it well.
Oh, they did.
No, what's his face? The guy, I'm having a brain fart. The dude that ran EA, and then I can't remember his damn name off the top of my head right now. But he went to them and said, this is a major problem, and the lawsuit comes after because there's a lot of things that went on between the third party companies and stuff that really hurt that at points in times, because like I had mine through Walmart and I bought the insurance because I heard about it.
Yeah.
And it was much easier for me, but also they were getting a kickback from Xbox because they put like $1 billion aside to replace these. So, it's one of those weird things where like maybe the government sued them. I don't remember who did, but I mean, it was, dude, like Red Ring of Death is no joke. Like, that's why I say, like, dude, that shit was fucked up. Dude, I lost a Madden game.
They got sued. That's why they did what they did. To me, I don't care. That's water under the bridge. As far as, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, the PS5 was not ready to be released. It's still not ready to be released. Too much of it still does not work correctly. I mean, they still can't do external drives, still can't do add-on SSD. They're 6 months into release date. It wasn't ready. That cake was not finished cooking. They for some reason they felt they had to do it. They had to do it at the same time as Xbox.
Well, they didn't want a 360 generation, I think.
That's why it is. That's exactly why.
But now they have a 360 generation, but not in a good way. It's like.
Well, I mean, the problem is that the PlayStation, like people that haven't been able to get it, like myself, I was still going to play on my One X. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the problem is that the people that haven't gotten it yet haven't experienced that. And we're talking, 85, 90% of the player base is still straight up on PlayStation 4. Because you think about it, we're talking hundreds of millions of people.
Well, and that's
so 10 million consoles are sold.
That's the other thing I was going to bring up. Stubbs was talking about he didn't really say that they were. Yeah, he pretty much did clarify that they are going to release it for the PS4.
Yeah, but like,
in fact, he said, and if they get a PS5, they have the option of getting it there too. In other words, they have the option of paying for it a second time to play the same game.
I hope they change that. Jeez.
It's an indirect way of opening the conversation and seeing if the PlayStation gamers want it to go cross-gen. And I'm telling you now, they probably are. But it's the way he didn't come out and directly say it.
Yeah, he strongly hinted it. And
the worst part is the loudest PlayStation gamers are the ones that are on Twitter that already have a PlayStation 5. So of course they're going to want it only on PlayStation 5. How about the other 80 million people that don't have it? And they can't get it.
Sony is backstepping their whole generation thing so bad because they can't get the PlayStation 5 out there. The only way they're going to do any good is if they go, we got to put this on the 4 too. And you can see that they're kind of doing that. They're kind of stepping back going, oh crap, we need to change the narrative.
I mean, obviously it's just, they've just made, because there was, Jim Ryan did say a while back, he said that, because they were talking about Game Pass and all that, and he was saying that we keep evaluating, changing our business plans according to what we find to be the best results. So, he's changed his mind, but it's for the benefit of the company. Because obviously, I know people don't like Jim Ryan, but he is actually making decisions. Obviously, releasing games on the PS4 would be incredible for their business. So he's doing things that. If you looked at that earnings call and the plans that they've got for the future of PlayStation, they're actually trying to do a version of xCloud on phones and all sorts. But a lot of people ignored it all. It's all there. They're planning to do it a lot. They are. So they do see it. They're just slower than Xbox. That's all.
Well, and I think part of it is they went into this generation with plan XYZ and being very, very firm about it. and all those very firm plans have had to fly out the window.
So yes, I agree.
You know, and I think part of it is that's why it looks so bad, is because they said we don't believe in generations, and 2 weeks later they went, well, we kind of do. You know, they should have never said the first part the way they did before they had to backstep on it. You know, especially given how this whole release is going, because you can't get either console, though that's changing. The Series S is now becoming pretty widely available, actually, for those that are looking for it.
It's a piece of piss to get in England. No one, they kind of. No one. It's because they're not advertising it. That's the thing. People don't. But at Christmas in Britain, they'll be sold out. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
That's when they're pushing the marketing. It'll be at Christmas time. They'll be sold out everywhere.
They're hoping to get more out there. But if you're looking, they are there. And
it's
a matter of. And I think it's because because of they're still having shortage issues with the components for the drives for the optical drives, not for the other parts of the system, but for the optical drive. And that's why we're only seeing the S's and not the X's.
Yeah. I'll just do some few shout outs because I realise I've given no one a shout out. Thanks for stopping by, Muppet, Assassin Looper, Judzilla, Infinite, who else? Animated Evil. We'll carry on to the edition. There it is, yep. Mr. Keema, I've seen the Portable Gamer, the Indie Gamer, Dragon Wolf. I'm going further up the list. Who else we got? There's been loads dropping today. Masuku. Let's go back up the list. VJ. Mav, thanks for stopping in. That's all I can see at the minute. Thanks, it's been some good conversation in the chat, and Flame, welcome. VJ, have you got any thoughts on this this matter?
I'm not an expert, so I'm just offering a temporary opinion based on what I briefly read and what I've kind of the reaction, I guess, what I've witnessed. Sadly, I think God of War and Sony's watchwords of "We believe in generations" is what has sort of I don't know how best to put this without insulting people, but I'll have a go. But you've got people selfishly, with perturbed and irritated opinions, that's lending to feelings, I should say, lending to sort of low rent, entitled and sarcastic, if not backwater opinions. But that's exactly what I'm seeing right now. And whether or not Sony have categorically confirmed whether God of War is coming to PS4 or PS5, I think that's the key issue, because I think a lot of people were hoping that it would be a true next-gen title. And I get all the points that Crispy and Paul have made, and they're all valid to a degree. But for me, I think that Herman himself, he's a pretty smart guy, right? And he said, look, he's kind of implied, look, we've got a lot of our top tier and well-known franchises which are either platform exclusive or they're going to be cross-gen, if it makes sense. I'm not a technical person, but before getting all sort of upset about this, like I've seen on Twitter mostly, is I would ask these questions first. And I guess I'm aiming this at people that have got tens of thousands of followers, right? And they should be a little bit more careful or a bit more educated, right, in terms of what they put out there. Because God of War, you would assume began development in 2018, I guess the questions I would have as a layman was, were the specs of the PS5 even locked at that stage? If not, was there any documentation or white papers available to first-party studios so they could factor in the architecture of the PS5 into any forthcoming game that they were building, or even targeting forthcoming technologies from headquarters, right? And building that into their game design. And I think if you're a sensible person, and the answer to both of these layman-esque questions would be a no. So then with hindsight, would you even prescribed a studio, or one of your studios, which probably houses about 250 staff members with a monthly burn of $4 million, to actually be doing anything but building content for PS4 with an eye on the upcoming PS5? That's what would make sense. So I don't understand why people are upset. I'm just trying to stay on topic, basically, so I don't want to go off of topic. So Sony and other companies, whatever technology-based company is out there, do believe in generations. Hence, why else release a new telephone or a new console if you don't? And games such as Ratchet and Clank, Returnal, and dare I say Demon's Souls are initial examples of console exclusive games until they're not. But plus whatever else that we're not privy to, but perhaps and more be revealed at E3. But more so than anything else, Sony or any corporation has to adhere, therefore modify, navigate, and evolve its business forecast trajectory strategically according to the current state of play. Yes, there was a pun intended there. You can't castigate Sony or a family member for that matter for everything that they don't 100% deliver on or promises that they keep. Everything is true to a degree. It's just down to how selfishly you as an individual or as an idiot decide to infer or construe a corporation's message or a loved one's message. That's what I think it comes down to. If you're a sheep that bows to any narrative or hope as gospel, then yes, I understand the twattish comments that litter Twitter with, that you litter Twitter
Go
with.
VJ!
But if you're intelligent, you will always exercise precaution and understand that all truths or facts are what they are by nature. And that is subject to change and perhaps not to your liking. And that's what I see Twitter full of, right? People are pointing to Jim's previous comments. I don't know what he said, so I may be completely wrong. So please forgive me. We want to transition PS5 owners across to PS5 at a pace never seen before. COVID and availability of silicone, or Paul was mentioning drive, so forgive me, Paul, has definitely impacted this. Yet their forecast to their shareholders shows that by March 2023, they plan to eclipse an install base of 55 million. That's fine. That's their business model. That's what they have to do. That's what they've promised, and they have to live by that, live or die by that, right? So as far as I'm concerned, how has Sony misled anybody, right? Furthermore, what's it got to do with me or you, right? Depending on the lay of the land for Sony or any corporation towards the end of this year, I think that because that's how the landscape is right now across the world, as Stubbs has just said, we'll make a call to either maintain cross-gen or pull the plug on certain cross-gen titles to refocus resources on a single platform. I don't know, but these are the calls that they have to make on a quarterly basis or monthly basis. I don't know, maybe half yearly, but I don't know, right? I've got an idea, right? So it's not like I work there or anything. So. And they may even put a stop or not release PS4 versions of certain cross-gen titles. And when you're managing 25 studios or 13 studios or whatever it is, those decisions and the planning becomes all that more complicated. And I think it was almost a year ago, and it's been a year now actually. I've been almost a year since I've been. I think it was on Boom Show, and even after the PS5 was about to be launched and so on and so forth. Yeah, it was prior to that. It was back June, July, August time. I said, listen, even when the PS5 launches, the PS4 is Sony's golden goose. Hence, why they're fully automated. I think I was on a show with, the name escapes me now, Dreadpool. I think it might have been on this show actually. And I said, listen, you know what? They've just invested a huge amount of money with Mitsubishi to build a PlayStation 4 automated factory to build PlayStation 4. Sorry about that. And only with a handful of people to oversee production. Why? And they haven't said this in their business plan that Stubbs was the PDF that they've put out for investors. I think, because I've been in manufacturing for a while over in Asia when I was living there, and I think that Sony are tweaking the design of the PS5, but it's by design. I think only as an idea or as a concept, Sony are planning to fully automate PS5 manufacturing. Then what does that allow them to do? Build hardware anywhere in the world. And there are a tremendous amount of marketing, logistic, and marketing benefits and savings to all of that. Yeah, Sony, for me, like all other major corporations, retain and maintain many contingency plans. It's all about timing and managing or navigating, situations that are arising, or I don't know curveballs that you call it over in the States. So I think a lot of things are going to happen. I think a lot of changes are occurring in the industry, and a lot of adaptation is going on. And I could go on for an hour. I'm getting tired now, but you kind of get the gist of where I'm getting at, right? So I think, it's just disappointing, right, to see the kinds of conversations that go on, especially for people that talk about the industry on a daily basis almost, right? Whether it's on Twitter, on YouTube, and so on and so forth, to come out with, I don't know, just such condescending, sarcastic, and low rent opinions. It's kind of shocking for me. And I actually did say to Stubbs, please don't bring up this topic because it's probably going to trigger me. Anyway, but that's just my take on it.
Is all that snark directed at me, VJ? No, I'm kidding.
No. I mean,
Well, VJ,
I'm kidding, VJ.
the chat's loving your comments. They're absolutely loving your comments, VJ.
Very knowledgeable, VJ.
They also love you. Actually said twatish.
I think the point I'm trying to make, and I think we can all agree to this, right? Because there's not a lot of things everybody always agree, and that's fine. Why do we always find imbeciles online looking at the negative, right? Herman Holst, whatever he said, he also mentioned From Software and Kojima in the same blog. I haven't seen anybody sort of focus on the positive and say, oh, let's hypothesize. And why is he mentioning these two companies in his blog, right? When they actually probably are far from doing anything with them to the public's mind's eye, right? So, and it's just, I kind of do not like negativity. I guess that's where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I guess my thing is what I would ask of the company, especially, and I'd say especially Sony, is when you're saying this is what we're planning on doing, or this is what we're, this is to say this is the goal, but we may not make it for whatever reason. Don't be so concrete in your statements, because those are the kinds of statements that come back and kick you in the ass. So you always have to leave it open for a little flexibility. To me, if I was making a statement for a company, I would leave a lot of flexibility. Like when what's his name, Phil said, and the part that people forget, a case by case basis. That means there's nothing solid either way. Case by case means exactly that.
Because
when you're someone like Phil Spencer or Jim Ryan, okay, you are ahead of a division, right?
Right.
You've been provided billions of dollars, right, to run a particular division and make it successful. Okay, you are going to make missteps, right? You are not aware of every single person's job, right, or every single studio's progress. Let's just say that for example, right? Okay, so and knowing that fans or hardcore fans sort of can listen to your words, but they don't have the IQ of actually interpreting what you're actually saying, right? And that's the issue, right? It's a lack of, how can I put this, education. And the thing is, right, and we talk about fanboys, right, on the other each side, right, because what they like to do is like to twist, infer in terms of what it is that's actually being said. And now 6 months later, we're discussing something, and I'm just as guilty because I've just said it myself, is discussing something Phil or Jim or whoever, or Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck or Bob the Builder said 6 months ago, and we don't know it word for word, and we may actually represent a particular word within a sentence that they spoke of, and it changes the whole narrative. And it's of a real concern for me, and especially when people online, there's a really good example, right? Everybody saw Horizon Zero Dawn gameplay, right? And I think that the first thing that came to me was, this is brilliant. How is the PS4 actually going to cope? Especially when before Cyberpunk came out. On this very show, I turned around and said, listen, you know what, PS4, looking at the ambition of Cyberpunk, I have no idea how it's going to run on last gen. I'm not clairvoyant or anything, so don't aim that at me. So how can you judge God of War if you haven't even actually seen it as yet, right? And when we look at something like Horizon Zero Dawn 2, not because it's from Sony, but as a benchmark in terms of what next-gen games can potentially look like, and then your concern is for the previous gen, then things are only going to improve going forward.
And as people tend to forget, we're actually not going to see fully next-gen games probably for about another year or two. Mm-hmm. It just ain't going to happen.
Maybe longer.
Yep.
Because sorry.
So it's like Phil said. He said that next gen won't really start until 2022, and I think he meant at the earliest. He did.
Yeah. Because
and
people don't want to hear that, do they?
The ones that are bitching that like God of War may be for PS4 as well, because their attitude is, well, that's going to hold it back from what the PS5 can do. Instead of going, well, good, that's more money for the developer, or that's, gets it in more hands so they can work on doing a PS5 patch or whatever. It's almost a selfish attitude of, we want the best we can get, we want it now, we want to forget about everything else back then.
Yeah, I think it's, as I said, it's about the majority of the world's population that are able to read, but a vast majority of those that can read do not understand the words they are digesting, especially when it comes into the context of understanding in the business language. And you can understand now, right, why Phil and Jim, or whoever, right, comes out and they speak less and less because they understand the impact and the power of their words. But that's why I was sort of pointing, I shouldn't really say pointing, but pointing the finger, and I was trying to do it politely. Honestly, I'd wash my finger and everything, at the people on Twitter that have followers in the tens of thousands. They, I don't mean to be cliche about it, but when you have that kind of power or influence, it comes with a sense of, it should come with a responsibility, right, of doing your research and then putting out a thoughtful a message out to your community that follows you and that trusts you, rather than inciting emotions that have no place of being. There's no point of or place of being there at any particular point in time.
Sadly, they want those clicks more than anything. They want the clicks. They don't want they don't want the idea of putting out good information. They just want to put out information that's going to get their thing clicked on. Oh,
Yeah, and I'll make it really clear. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of cross-gen titles. Okay, and that's just why I don't really want to get into all of that. It's probably for
I've been meaning to do the research to see, like, between the original Xbox and the 360, how long did they continue to develop for the original Xbox, and so on and so forth. For some reason with this generation, people seem to want it like now, that we want to cut them off now. And for each of the others, I think it was halfway into the next generation before they totally cut off the previous one.
It was.
Weren't they still making 360 games until something like 2016, something like that? I'm sure there were, something along those lines.
Yeah, some third-party companies were, some smaller companies were, yeah.
Excellent timing, Animated. Have you got any thoughts on this, or has it all been covered by the looks of it?
To be fair, it's been covered quite quite well. I did have a couple
emphatically.
Of things. Yeah, essentially, yeah. I did have a couple of things that have already been said. There's no point saying the same things again. You all beat me to it.
Right, so as VJ mentioned Horizon Zero Dawn state of play.
Sorry, I just wanted to say, I've also seen, because I want to be fair here. I've always very fair. So I've also seen, other comments, countering the notion of video games, not being held back due to cross-gen support. And I'm not a fan of cross-gen, as I've just said, but this comment is only true to a degree, depending on your game design, the technology that you have available to you, and can it hold the visual scope and the density of what it is that your designers wanting to create and trying to do in order to sell your vision, engage the consumer, and drive a player forward, because that's what the designer and the narratives person's job is to do. Very rarely do you find really good narrative and creative developers or designers that have a technical know-how as well. And then it's down to the technical elasticity of your team, right, or your technical team and your technology, and will that provide for scaling? And that's about it, right? I think that's quite important. And I think Ratchet and Clank is a fantastic. Maybe it's not a game for everybody. It is for me, but it's in terms of technical elasticity and testing the notion of games not being held back by technology. It's a very, very good example. So anyway, I'll shut up now.
Yeah, it is. I think we'll move on to another topic. I didn't anticipate that topic to be that long, but it was a very good topic. It was everything.
Yeah, don't you miss the days when I hardly said anything? Yeah.
So you don't all have to comment on this subject. I know we don't. Not everyone on this conversation plays Gears, so I just want to talk about the Gears 5 Operation 7. It's had quite a lot of updates. It's got the new map Aethera. The burning remains of this once prestigious hotel serves as a focal point of this Aethera city block. Controlling the hotel is key, but numerous points of entry give ample opportunity to counter-attack. So the PvP, there's been some changes. Some of the changes we're reintroducing in Operation 7 will automatically refresh existing content. Ranked is also one area where automatic refreshes will extend the experience. Operation 7 will be introducing a competitive mode to do just that. Now, this is it's quite good. The competitive side, competitive is updated with a rank system, and that's not been around for a long time. Sorry, not rank systems. I meant they're bringing the leaderboards back. That's what I meant. More modes to compete with. Gear points have now been removed, and we use total point systems for each playlist. The higher your total points, the better you have been performing. Reaching certain milestones in the leaderboards also gains special rewards. So check the section below for more information. So, as mentioned previously, competitive will be adding leaderboards across each mode. At the start of Operation 7, they'll be adding control, team deathmatch, 2v2 Nashers, free-for-all, 8-player, Guardian. The flexibility of competitive will mean we can add more modes over the course of the operation. In the next 2 weeks, this is an old blog, we will be adding Execution 2.0 and Escalation. With each mode having a leaderboard, we will shift to a placement system for each playlist. This leaderboard is seasonal, which means it will reset at the start of each operation. And of course, you can filter the leaderboard to compare yourself to your friends to see how you're faring against them. In addition, you can also view each player's leaderboard stats and filter them by week and season. So I'm not going to go through it all, but there's a lot to. Once you re-up, you keep re-upping. There's skins you can earn as well that I don't think you can buy, and overall, it seems to be very good. But the problem with leaderboards as well, it does actually give the player base an idea of how many people are weekly playing multiplayer in Gears. It's about 70 to 100k, I believe, that play Gears weekly, which sounds very low. No, I think it's decent. I think the updates they've made to the game, that they seem to be taking on feedback from players that have been playing the game. Seems very. I've been playing it a bit. I had 2 months off and I regret it. I'm getting back into it. I'm not as good as I used to be, but I'm getting there. But the rewards, and I think they're doing everything right. I know a man that will probably have a better view than me, Mr. Crispy Bomb. What do you think of this new operation?
It's good. It's not great. It doesn't correct the issues that it's already had. The true match system, the coalition, for the love of God, you need to get rid of that. That is a third party that they use for their matchmaking.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah.
It is horrible. It still has the hiccups that it had when it launched. And I have a major issue with that. I do not like not being able to see my character, not being able to pick the map for the next round or match. Dude, whatever they did, whatever they allowed them to do, never again. Gears 4 for matchmaking was absolutely fine.
Yeah, they had it sorted.
and here's the problem I have also. A lot of people are ignoring this. You see the 70 to 100,000. That's a lot of people for a niche game. A niche game? It's not your Fortnites. It's not your Call of Duties. It is technically a niche game. It is one of a kind still to this day, which a lot of people don't realize. The wall bouncing, everything else that's involved in the game is extremely hard to learn. And still, I get my butt whooped all the time. So, you know, it is one of those games to have that many players there is pretty impressive. Now, this is what they used to use for Gears 2, by the way, people. This is how Gears 2 was set up. Gears 1 was basically you had nothing. You didn't have any, inkling of what you were good at or anything. Gears 2 was a leaderboard system. I got up to the top 2,000 and I think it was Warzone. And I was impressed with that. And there was over 150,000 people playing that game mode on a daily basis. So What I'm telling you is that, you know, you're looking at leaderboards. You're also looking at that game modes leaderboards as well.
Yeah.
They didn't change it to the point where they have an all leaderboard like they did in Gears 2. It all comes back to the ranking system at the beginning of the game. You had bronze, silver, gold, onyx, diamond, and then masters. Problem is, it was segregating individual. So let's say I played with a diamond or a master, which I have many times. I would get placed against between onyx and master. So the other team had to have that. This caused an isolation of the player base. So when you went and matchmake, so now when I go and matchmake, it is usually about a minute at the most. When I used to matchmake with some of these people that are on different levels than I am, it was about 3 to 5 minutes. And that's if you waited
terrible.
patiently. Okay,
If you weren't very good, they'd message
have
you saying, "Oh, you shit." You get a message off, and I said, "I'm only in bronze. I should be playing with bronze players," and they're like masters. I said, so "It's not my fault. I've been put in your game. I am trying. I'm just not as good as you." You know,
but they have eliminated that consolidation. At the same time, you do not know who you are playing. You could be literally in a match, which I'll give them credit. They put team deathmatch back to 4 people. Let's get back to 5, Coalition. Don't know what happened with that. We've been playing with 5 people for a long time now. Why did we go to 2 in team deathmatch, which is your bread and butter, which made Gears 3 so popular, by the way, because no game was doing it at that time. Okay? The respawns, everything else, that didn't come from Call of Duty. That came from Gears, bro. That's the problem I have. People don't give Gears credit. Horde modes came from Gears. Like, dude,
facts.
it made it mainstream, okay? And the competitiveness of Gears made it more popular. Why did you go to 4 or then to 2 at one point? You can only be in a party of 2 to play in the last operation. Why did you do that? I don't understand what they're doing. All I know is that the maps that they've been coming out with lately, like Afira, I played it like twice, dude. I got killed so many times as I'm looking at the map. I'm like, this looks just ridiculous. Like, how is this possible on a multiplayer game? It looks so good. You know what I mean? Even like you go on, if you've never played All Fathers, if you go and play that map, like that freaking map looks insanely amazing. And it's like, you know, you didn't bring out enough maps. We don't know what the next map, because they're basically taking operations and now it's split up into 2. It's like, I don't know what's going on there. I think personally that Microsoft's like, dude, we need you on visuals in this game. Like, it's literally on their wiki right now that they're working on Halo Infinite. Okay? So, you know, understand that at this point, the visuals of this game are so incredible to even like anybody that's working at Microsoft, the higher ups and everything, that they're like, we need you at other places. We can't have this. We can't have you just be on one title. So I think we're going to see something new from them. Kind of getting off topic, but at this point, you have to appreciate that they're still supporting Gears 5, even though for me, seeing 200,000, 500,000 players at certain points, especially Gears 3 was, I mean, 500,000 like every day. And even when Judgment came out a week later, it was back to like 250,000 players playing that game. Okay, because Judgment, the multiplayer was horrible. It's a multiplayer-centric game. And what they're doing with the multiplayer, I got to say, it's better. I'd rather not know that I'm getting my butt whooped by a master. I'd rather just get my butt whooped and call it a day. I don't have to look at your rank. I have to be like, I got placed with the wrong person. You know what I mean? Like, at this point, look, I play with people that do the same to the other team. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's the way I look at it. And I want to bring up, because we're talking about Operation 7, they eliminated disabling crossplay on the ranked or competitive. That's why they call it competitive now. A lot of people don't think about that. It's called competitive now because they're trying to take down the walls of the PC players. The one point I always make is if you're playing on a regular controller, you're not playing the claw, which is very hard to learn, by the way, but I know a few people that do it. You're not playing the claw, and you are playing you versus me, and I'm using my Elite Series 2. Is that cheating?
Mm-hmm.
That is where I go and say these games that are going to come out on Game Pass and everything else that are going to be able to be played on mobile, some of them actually be able to touchscreen mobile, and you're playing that person on the mobile. Is that cheating because you're on a Series X? This is my whole point with the crossplay thing. Like, I don't care. Okay, I've beaten people that clearly are using a PC, and they've admitted it to me. My point is that we're getting to this convoluted area where you could even say crossplay on any game. Oh, this person's using a PlayStation controller. Is the Xbox controller better? I'd say even 70% of PlayStation players that have actually used an Xbox controller say it's better. Now, is that cheating? You know what I'm saying? If somebody has a scuff controller, is that cheating? This is where I'm just like, dude, like, we're past that at this point. And they already announced that they're about to release being able to use mouse and keyboard on Gears 5. So
yeah, they are
on the Series X. So what I'm telling you is I'm at the point where I say, okay, if I know somebody's mouse and keyboard, probably going to make sure they don't get the sniper. But that's about it for Gears. Now, I'm not talking about any other games. Other games, you already deal with that half the time. PUBG, you deal with that. Okay? Yeah. You know, Call of Duty, I mean, what the freaking most of them are coming out crossplay. So we're already dealing with it. It's your choice. You want to spend $3,000 on a rig and have a mouse and keyboard? But now at least Xbox is saying we're about to bring out giving you the option across the board. And I think that's more important, in my opinion.
That's true. I mean, it doesn't bother me about the fat cross players on there. A lot of people have been moaning about it, but because it said 40% of people have turned crossplay off, so we've decided to turn it on, and there's no choice. It doesn't bother me. It just boosts the player base.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're doing with this operation. Yeah. I think they're testing the waters. They said, you know, in their eyes, because they've had millions of players playing the multiplayer at certain points. Even Gears Ultimate Edition had like 1 million players within the 3-month launch window. So they're at the point they're like let's experiment. That's what they did with Game Pass. Okay, this was like the launch title for Game Pass, if you don't remember.
Oh, don't get me started.
That's really what it was. Okay, so the experimentation is there. The problem is that they haven't fixed the things that I want them to fix. But I think it's kind of embedded in the game itself, like that true match bullshit. Like, it just drives me crazy. I don't understand why they can't fix it, and they haven't. And it's been a year now. You haven't fixed it. I'm not happy. Do I love Gears? Yes. Do I want more? Abso-fucking-lutely. Sorry for the F-bomb, but
you're fine. Oh, I love it. The passion you've got, because you're willing to. Because some gamers love their games but you're calling out the stuff that you think is wrong, which is good. You know, the passion you've got for Gears, you can definitely, it shines through. You got some very, very valid points you did. Because it's like some of with the servers, it annoys me when they know I'm in Europe, I'm in UK, and they just drop me onto the American server, so I have 200 ping. And that stuff annoys me, you know. But at least I don't live in Australia, because apparently it's even worse there.
If crossplay is forced, does it not detract away from you'll get the old style gamers like yourselves? What about the new guys that are just now moving over to the Series X or the Series S and X who've never played Gears before? Is that not alienating them, putting them against better players and stuff? Because
but I agree.
There is going to be a new generation of players coming onto these consoles, and to jump straight into say Gears 5 where it is now.
Well, number one,
Gears
if
6.
you are below what is that, level 50, I think, something like that.
you can't go in. You can't do.
You have to go through your trials and tribulations.
Okay.
Number two, if somebody has never played Gears, you have to play at least through the campaign or play Horde for a period of time to understand the movement. You have to understand the movement, okay? And if you don't understand the movement, you are going to get trashed by even people that are not good, like myself. Okay, I'm good,
Stop
but
saying that. You're good.
I'm good, but that's about it. Like I'm good, and then I go down to not good. Okay, so that's my point. Like, and I know the movement. I know how to pop shot. I know how to do all these things. I mean, people beat me all the time, hard aiming, and I'm wall bouncing and doing all this other stuff. The competitiveness is there, even if you're not like used to how the game moves. But at the same time, if you don't know that you need to roadie run and get to a power weapon, or make it more important than anything else, then you don't know how to play the game, and that's the way the game's set up. You know what I mean? So
my starting point is you suck, and I don't tend to go higher than that. You know, that's I keep it level. I keep
With Gears
I
animated,
think you've killed me once. Come on.
Oh yeah, I have. I've killed you a couple of times actually.
Yeah.
Lucky shots. Lucky shots.
It's part of the learning the DNA of Gears animated.
Yeah.
To drop the players in the deep end, regardless.
And I
It's how it
completely
is.
agree. I completely agree. And hopefully my mic's a bit louder now because I was a bit low. I completely agree with that fact. But I was just throwing it out there for anyone who didn't play it before. And a lot of people who are new to games will just go, I want to play multiplayer. Because they're used to playing things like your Call of Duties and your Battlefields where...
They're used to just being able to jump in, and the mechanics are pretty much the same. You're a guy with a gun who can run around and shoot people.
Exactly, yes. Exactly.
You
I'm
can
just
actually
throwing it out
tell
there
who's on
and just asking your opinion.
Yeah, you can actually tell who's on PC though as well. I'm pretty sure, Crispy, if you press that button where you can see the power weapons, I'm sure it shows you who's on PC.
I think a lot of the games now that are cross platform, they show you, they give you an indicator.
Well, no. What they
I love it when I kill one of them.
Well, here's the funny thing. A lot of people didn't read this in their announcement, and everybody was like looking at it. What they're trying to do is stabilize your input device. So if you're on controller, you play with controller for the majority of the time. It's not isolating from the PC, but if you play on mouse and keyboard, because it's going to be on the series consoles very soon, then you play with more majority mouse and keyboard. And that's I think this is what the experiment they're trying to do, because you still don't want to isolate. Like me, I don't care if I play mouse and keyboard. I actually have beaten more people playing mouse and keyboard than anything. The only people that beat me are usually my friends that are on mouse and keyboard. You know what I mean? But I already knew they were better than me on controller, so it ain't no different. You know what I mean? But
I think that for me, the biggest question of them forcing the cross play between mouse and keyboard and controller is when it comes to the competitive side, the esports side, because then you consider they don't necessarily have an even playing field, and I think that's a lot of people's issue.
Okay, but we could reverse that real quick and say, how does Fortnite do competitive with all these different players on there?
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm just saying that's one argument I've seen that I could see a legitimate.
Well, I'm just saying, like, we see esports all the time. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody uses
I do know that some of those games do keep it separate for esports purposes. You know, that when you're at a competition,
I mean, if they do the same, and then they do the same. But right now, the player base for PC, it's not there, dude. Like, I rarely play PC players on Xbox.
I love the way Gears 5 looks on my PC. I love that. It looks awesome.
That's about it, right? You don't want to try to move. Dude, I'm telling you, if you don't have the sniper, it don't matter, bro. It really doesn't. It doesn't. I'm sorry. Like, dude, we have played like all PC teams and trashed them. And all I got is my Elite Series 2, and everybody else is either one's playing claw, one's just playing on the regular controller. Because we make sure if we see PC icons, we say, you ain't getting a sniper. We going to get the sniper. And when we start wall bouncing and stuff, and they can wall bounce quicker if they learn it. But that's the problem. You got to learn it. You can't. And that wall bounce, it doesn't matter because you're moving two different things all at once. I'm moving just a controller and my thumbs. So, you know what I mean? Like you're moving the mouse this way and that way and this way and that way. But then you're trying to shoot with your space bar or whatever it is. And me, I'm just going back and forth, and then boom, 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 boom. I can keep shooting as I'm doing it.
No, I will say
that.
The people that have the trackball mice, those they can be pretty quick with that. That's pretty nasty.
Oh, but, yeah, dude. But I experienced that in PUBG when it came out. You know what I'm saying? Like I experienced that. Absolutely.
I never expect to be good, but for me it is fun to watch it sometimes. But yeah, because I've seen some incredible stuff going. Yeah, I can never do that. Like I watch 3-Bit. I've observed 3-Bit when we're playing together. He is mad. He is mad talented. You know, you give him a sniper rifle and everybody's dead. Okay. Yep. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like, wow. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a good topic. It's been so. Has anyone else got any thoughts? You don't have to. I know some of you don't play Gears at all, so it's not forced.
Other than what I injected into the conversation there, nothing from me, sir.
You got any thoughts, VJ?
I flatter to deceive and disguise how poor I actually am at Gears. However, it is a franchise that engages me and provides me inherent joy when playing with others. That's
that's exactly it. That's the same reason I play all these multiplayer games.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Paul. Yeah, just chime in and nick all my best lines, mate. Yeah, cheers.
But it's the reason I play with you all when we play those games. I don't play it because I'm good. I play it because we have fun. You know.
I thought you were going to say because I play them because I'm great.
Oh, is that why?
No, sorry, that was your line, not mine.
No, I'm great. No, I'm great at being bad. That I go in knowing that I'm a walking target. But if I get a good shot off, if I get a good when I kill Crispy or whatever, oh yeah, I'm having fun because I've got a great shot off. It's like.
Yep, agreed.
Because I remember once I got a few kills on Crispy, and he was like. He was like, all right, I'm going to start playing now. And he totally destroyed me. He was like...
But were you sleeping?
Like, no.
See, the one problem is that beers and gears go really well. So generally, you get like half of how good I am.
You get a half crispy.
Yeah.
Crispy as toasted. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah. Usually, yeah. I love beers and gears. I mean, I sit there and it's like second nature. I mean, for me, because I started so early and some people get in there and that's what I hate. They got to figure out a better way to get people involved in the movement, because the movement I think is the biggest problem for people to understand. You know what I mean? Once you understand the movement, you start enjoying the game. But once you get into the multiplayer, you realize that your movement ain't that great. So
yeah, you do.
Yeah, you know one game I think did that well, introducing the movement and how things work, and did it very well, was Titanfall 2. You had to do the full thing in order to get the multiplayer, and they step by step you through every little aspect of it. So by the time you hit multiplayer, you knew exactly what to do. You weren't necessarily good at it, but you knew what you had to do.
Well, they did try to do that with the boot camp thing, but I mean, it's not like you could skip over it. Yeah, you could skip over it though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
If I remember right, with Titanfall 2, you couldn't skip over it. I don't think. I think you had to do it pretty much.
Once you get used to that Nasher gun, you don't have to I don't think when I'm shooting people. I just do it. It's not. If you start to try and aim. You can die. You are, but it's one of them games you either like Gears or you don't. It's one of I've always liked Gears since I first played it.
I've even liked the single player Gears. I prefer the single player Gears story to the Halo story. I know I always get heat for that, but I always get heat for that.
I do.
But I think the characters are more well developed for Gears. I care more about the characters in Gears than I do about some mysterious Master Chief that some faceless creature.
if you look into the lore of Gears and you look into the stories, there is decades and decades worth of content and games they could make that just haven't explored yet. There is like people go, oh well, after Gears 6, I think they should finish the IP. It's done with. But these same people ain't got the same energy. Like thinking, oh well, after Halo Infinite, 10 years or whatever, I think they should be done away with it. If they don't have that same energy.
I don't think after number 6 they should say that's it, we're done. But
that's what most of
like you've just said. I think they should explore more avenues of the lore, because like you said, there's decades and decades of it, and
there is.
They could go nuts. They really could go nuts with it.
You don't have to have Marcus Phoenix in it and stuff. You can go with new characters. There's loads of lore, loads of it. There is.
Heck, there's even loads of side characters they've mentioned in the main games that we have that we haven't experienced that they could go to. Well, here's so and so's story from you heard about it. Now here we are. There's
even bits in Gears 5 where they hint to something that happened, and they do a time jump, and then after the time jump, they don't fucking mention it.
A lot of people forget. Be a somewhat coherent civilian when E-Day happened, okay? and there's your horror game right there, bro. I'm just saying, dude. Like imagine running through buildings, I would love to be there. Yeah. All of a sudden, this giant spider-like corpser comes out of the ground and it's just screaming in your face, and you're like, "Oh my god, run!" Like you could do. I've watched enough Resident Evil Village. Like, I want to play the game because I thought they did a good job with some of that stuff. But it's like, dude, Gears could do that all day if they wanted to. They could easily do that.
Yeah,
they've had the
videos of E-Day and stuff. I would love to play through that. I would love to be at the very beginning of, oh my God, what's going to happen to humanity?
Things coming out of the ground. I mean, that's scary as shit, dude. First person perspective. Let's see it. I'm down for it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yep.
It's I want to play through the Pendulum War stuff. Yes, that would be good. That'd be a good one. See, there's a lot of Gears creators like Shadows and people like that, YouTubers, and if you watch a lot of their videos, they have ideas for games and game modes, and it's really good stuff. Obviously, the Coalition probably because Shadows is a Coalition partner, so they could have took some of his ideas on board, but they won't tell him, obviously. But there's a lot there. There is. It's because it's not the most beloved franchise it's Halo's the most beloved, but I just feel Gears should get more love and more push. But
yeah,
I think we should move on to another topic.
I just don't get why Halo gets all the love, because I'm not invested in Master Chief. I got to know Marcus and I got to know, all those guys, and, but Master Chief was just whatever, I guess to me, because he was always kind of nebulous. Well,
you either like Gears, you either like Halo, you don't, and a lot of people like Gears. Like, I know Lupa prefers Gears to Halo. I know that she does.
Yep.
But it's what you like. It is. I've always been Gears, But we'll try and get into fit another topic in. What do people think to the Horizon Forbidden West, Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West state of play? Because I watched it a couple of times on my phone, and I think I watched the 4K one. They uploaded that after. It looks incredible. I mean, I haven't played the first game, but I would really like to play it. I'm looking at getting a PS4 when I can. When people start to not charge you the earth for a second-hand PS4, I will, because they're still doing that over here in the UK. I imagine they are everywhere else, but once the prices come down, I will get one. I am borrowing one soon, but so it would be a game I'd like to play, and I think the graphics, the art design, all the characters look really good. Don't they? Anyone else got any thoughts on this? Did any of you watch the full 15 minutes state of play?
I misheard it when they started it. I thought they said 40 minutes. It was 14, but I liked what I saw. I mean,
14, that's it.
All
Yeah.
I saw was 3 hours later. No, I'm just
Yeah.
messing around. Yeah, you know, that was the one thing. Like, they acted like they were starting the stream early, which is just funny.
Oh, that was annoying. That was annoying.
Yeah, and people
Five-hour
were
countdown.
on. Like, I feel bad for the people that were doing like live reactions because they were actually in there for so long. You know, and don't get me wrong, the screenshots of what they were doing looked incredible, but it's like, I don't know, like, you know, I think it lost a little bit of its luster when I actually watched it in 4K. Kind of weird. I thought it looked better at its 1080p when I was watching it live. It's a little strange because I started seeing like the colors like almost feel like not realistic at all. If that's something to say. The water looked really good. The gameplay looked really good. But I also thought that when I was watching it in 1080p. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about, you know, what they're actually going to do with this game. I almost feel like the 4K was just to shut people up. And it wasn't really optimized for it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it probably was on a lower frames per second. I didn't really go into everything, but maybe that was the issue, you know, of what I was seeing. Because, you know, at this point, you know, playing at higher FPS, you know, even just at 60 has become a big deal to me. So I don't know, like it's a streaming, like I always say, like it's YouTube, it's streaming, but it's like I'm not talking about the hiccups when it's buffering or when it's, you know, trying to catch up. Like I'm not talking about none of that stuff. I'm talking about what I see when it's running correctly. And when it was running correctly, I was like, I thought it almost looked better. Like, you know, it almost felt like a little different when it was 1080p. And I'm like, well, could that be the frames per second? So I don't know what they're getting at. Like, I'm happy that it's gameplay. I mean, I've called this on Xbox many times. Like, yeah, we got the Halo Infinite gameplay, but it didn't look as good as Horizon did right there. So that's what I got to say about that. You know what I mean? Don't, you know, I hate when people are like calling out something that obviously doesn't look as good as the other. Like, can we just stop with the Halo? Like, is Halo in your brain so much that, you know, after a year, you know, you haven't seen a damn peak of gameplay now? You know, did you ever play the Gears 4 beta and how bad that shit looked? Dude, that shit looked horrible. And the final game looked way better than that. And it's like, dude, I'm almost expecting them to do the same thing with Halo Infinite. So stop with that shit. Like, and the fat faces, bro. Like, dude, get your head out of your ass, okay? As people get older, they generally get a little heavier. I'm just saying. So
Yes.
technically, she's getting older, just like Kate got older in Gears 5. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
and Marcus got older too. You know.
Okay. They generally gain weight. Like, yes, you get to an age where maybe you lose weight, like you get to like your 50s or something, and you're thinking about your health more. You want to be on this earth a lot longer. But, you know, you get into that 30, I'm bigger than when I started podcasting, people. Okay, I have gained way too much weight, and now I'm starting to think about it. Okay, so my point is that it sounds realistic, it looks realistic. It didn't make me like, you know, I wasn't looking at the face, was like, oh, this doesn't look like her. It looks like her. She just gained a little weight. Maybe there was like a lull. We don't know what's going on. Like, maybe they're making you question the story right now. You don't fucking know. Like, come on. Like, stop with the bullshit. Let's realize that the game looked great. When I watched it in 4K, I didn't feel the same vibes that I felt watching it in its original form, watching it live. I was like, that's a little weird to me. That's the only thing I really have a complaint about. Like, what's going on there? You know what I mean?
Let me just say that I'm in my 50s. I'm trying to lose weight, not so that I'm here longer, but so that I leave a pretty corpse and the pallbearers don't break their backs trying to lift the casket. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they're gonna have to add an extra foot to that just for the hair, though, Paul. That's the problem.
Yeah. Hey,
So the
leave my bushy hair alone.
indie gamers just said she is incredibly trim and in shape. Her face is fuller. It's just because they wanted her to look a few years older.
Yep.
So yeah, it's exactly what you were saying, Crispy.
That was my thought. Like after I saw the stupid memes and shit, I'm like,
Oh,
dude,
it's
if you
getting
look
boring
at Kate, if you look at Kate compared to what she was in Gears 4, you see the same thing, and it only
They're
makes
bringing
sense.
them up now.
Yeah.
They've also been bringing them screenshots up too. The people want to fucking grow up, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like stop, dude. You know, like, and the only, like I said, the only thing is that, you know, graphic fidelity at this point does not trump FPS. It doesn't, in my opinion. And, you know, FPS is very important. Now, yes, if it's 720p or 900p, yeah, it's going to really trump it. But if it's 1080p, 1440p, or 4K, I'll tell you, you'll take the frames majority of the time. If you actually play higher frame games, if you actually have the TV or anything capable of that, you would rather have the frames per second.
My general rule of thumb is still, and I've said it here before, if I'm playing a multiplayer or whatever, like shooter or whatever, I'm going for the frames per second. If I'm playing a single player that's strictly single player, a lot of times I'm going for the HDR, the 4K, you know, and I make those choices on a game-by-game basis, you know, depending on what I'm going for. Because if I'm playing a game that looks pretty like Skyrim or whatever, basically, I want it to look good. The frames are nice, but, you know, I'd much rather be in awe of the scenery at that point. That's just my personal take on it. That my TV won't do 4K, 60. It'll do 1080 60, but it won't do 4K 60. So good, I killed the chat. I get that when I do it for the show.
I didn't realize I wasn't sure you were finished. Like I said earlier, I'm playing Skyrim. The resolution hasn't gone up any. The fact is that I'm playing it at 60 frames per second, and the loading times have increased exponentially.
Right.
I'm absolutely loving it. It feels like a game that it should have launched like that. That's how quick it is. Just the game feels more fluid. Like when you sprint, you really sprint because everything's moving that much faster.
Well, when you realize how long ago that game actually came out, though.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is, it's because I'm only enjoying it as much because it's now running at 60.
Yep.
At 30, it was just, oh God, really? It was unbearable. But now, yeah, I'm exactly the same as you. I'm all for frames.
Yeah.
And then when you play games at 120 like Dirt 5, and which it's never going to be the most pretty game in the world. When you play games like that and Wreckfest as well at maximum frames per second, it makes a massive difference.
Dun, dun,
Yes.
dun.
You got any thoughts, VJ?
A couple. I thought the overall presentation of Horizon Forbidden West, given its 3.5
Freudian slip.
Yeah, Freudian.
Press controllers here. What do you need?
I'm not a fan of the game or the series, but I have to be objective here. So it's had 3.5 years worth of development, time invested into it. So from what I saw, given that it's a cross-gen title, which we were made aware of prior to being shown the game, so everyone was more accepting of it. I think it was brilliant. I watched the NX Gamer's technical breakdown of the game, and if my memory serves me right, yes, there were perhaps some graphical elements popping in on the periphery of the screen, and crepuscular rays perhaps were not as consistent as they should have been. But do factor in that Guerrilla's latest game won't be out till the end of the year, and according to today's blog, may even slip into next year. Regardless of my nitpicks, the trailer on Sony's channel alone has almost 9 million or 10 million views across 2 videos. showcasing the same trailer in under a week, one being in 1080p, the other one in 4K. But I also watched, and I don't really watch Digital Foundry, but I was interested on their take, since it's a new topic at the moment, or a hot topic, or an interesting topic, or something I should be aware of, since I do podcasts. But Horizon Zero Dawn, the original, made tremendous tangible strides, which they witnessed themselves by being on hand at the studio at the time, in terms of technical and visual refinement and optimization, especially in the last few months of development before the game, I believe, was launched in February 2017, a month before Breath of the Wild. It was originally penciled in for November 2016 as a November 2016 title. So yes, definitely, 3 or 4 games major games don't actually come together until the last few months prior to launch, right? And if I was Sony, and if I was working there, obviously, which I don't, and I'm not sponsored by them either, for me, from a business perspective, I'd be converting the potentiality, I'd be looking at how to convert the potentiality, I should say, of those views into tangible unit sales, especially since a lot of people don't realize that first-party games and the investment that goes into them is a risk. And if you really look at the numbers, is a niche market that caters for perhaps 3 to 7% on average in the case of Sony's PS4 user base. And Crispy said something I think quite important. I don't know if I've got time to touch on it. It was in terms of like the twats on Twitter, observing.
Oh, I'm loving the swearing, PJ. It's great.
Oh, sorry,
I'm loving it. I'm loving the swearing.
Well, so. Look, an artist on his own or her own, right, or via collaboration of artists, right, can create or realize a singular or a collective vision. So I can't get my words out at the moment. We all see, artwork differently, and there'll always be many different interpretations, and I don't have a problem with that, right? And then, as what Crispy said, just sort of triggered me a little bit, because I started to think of like Aloy, which we've just seen. I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, so I was thinking of Tifa Lockhart, Bayonetta from Platinum Games, Aerith Gainsborough. Then you've got Lara Croft, Lightning from Final Fantasy. You've got Ellie, you've got Princess Peach, Hornet from Team Cherry, and the indie gamer would definitely not forgive me. I hadn't mentioned her. And then you've got in the recent remakes from Capcom, you've had Jill Valentine. These are all fantastically different and independent characters, and we talk about so much about community and diversity, but so many of us don't understand the meanings. Really important to understand the meaning of the words that you use, and we use words like diversity, right? And I think that these characters represent the within video gaming or as an artistic medium, and I think that they should all be welcomed, right, under. There's that word again, crepuscular rays of unity, right? And the problem is most people can't see, and we know this to be true, and we don't want to talk about it, can't see past color, physical features or form, mannerisms, vocal sounds or speech, race, religion, tribes, creed or cultures. We just don't, right? We ignore it half the time when it's like slaps us in the face. And then people, start crying about, oh, why is there so much, prejudicial tendencies and thinkings that exist endemically, right, or naturally within everyone. I've seen the comments in regards to Aloy or Aloy, however you want to pronounce it. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact pronunciation. That's my bad. But you have to think of it like this, right? Before you utter something or want to say something, right? And over the last 3 or 4 years, 20 or 30 people, perhaps even more, contributed to the completion of that character model and how it was envisioned to appear in the game and so on and so forth. Maybe not exactly, but you kind of get what I'm saying. That's who you're ultimately aiming your disparaging remarks towards. So there are so many people each and every day that are offended by proxy on someone else's behalf, right? And so then you've got the people that are countering the way other people are offending you, right? But they're not really offending you, right? You're kind of, just lashing out based on some, the only person that should be offended or should come out and say anything are the people that created it, right? So most of that, I think that the people that are reacting, whether you like it or you don't like it or you're defending it, is from a place of, for me, I was thinking about this morning, is a place from narcissism. That's all I could come up with. And there are a few that offer, in my opinion, on Twitter, and you have to scroll for hours, right, to find a wise or an empathetic perspective. And I would suggest you visit Holland, spend time over there observing Dutch people, and you may perhaps come to understand a little bit about the influences and the culture behind the way Aloy encapsulates the look and feel or personifies the beauty of Dutch women. You know, because we've all got, you know, sort of, people talk about the eye, you know, in the eye of the beholder, the eye of love or whatever, right? And it differs in terms of how it's been, how can I put it, cultivated, and how it discerns beauty, right, from place to place, from region to region, country to country, you know, continent to continent. And if you've, you know, been privileged enough and open-minded enough to travel there and be exposed to it, and if you're willing to take it in with, as I say, with an open mind, I think everything has a beauty, but not everyone can see it, because you know what it's like these days, right? More and more so, we react autonomously or automatically. There's a word for it. I forgot what it is now. My memory's not what it used to be. Automatically, more often not only without thought or courtesy, but with primitive and programmed, preconceived or misconceived notions and sentiment. I can't remember who said it, but there was someone famous who said it, and I can't remember who to credit it with because it's not one of mine. But you know, you have these negative and idiotic people that we talked about in the first topic, and isn't it quite funny, right? They always have a problem for every solution, and the thing for me is that when this kind of topic comes up, I go back to the game that came out, The Last of Us Part 2, I think it was, with the whole Ellie and Abby thing. And here's something to think about, right? No one had an issue with how Ellie physically looked in The Last of Us Part 2, but how her character develops over the course of the game left a number of people, I don't know the numbers here, but let's just say there was a portion of people that ended up disliking what she herself became to be, right, or what she represented by the end of the game, based on what they understood and learned about her from the first game. Nobody cared, in contrast, right? Nobody cared about much for Abby's appearance, right, in The Last of Us 2, right? Many were perturbed by only what they could see, right? But as the game and her story progresses, she begins to grow on you, and you begin to realize what sort of a person and who she really is. I guess the point I'm trying to make is, despite getting to know or gaining knowledge of another person over time, and I know I'm kind of using video game characters here, but it's good because we can both relate. If I said, you know, whatever, Bob or whatever, you know, you wouldn't know who I'm talking about. But these two are a good example. And perhaps even when you get to understand or respect, you know, this hypothetical someone, some of us still can't get past how another person looks, regardless of any other outstanding qualities that they possess. And I think that is something really important to consider. I'm not saying idolize Abby as an example, but you have to learn to get past the roots of your own ignorance, discrimination, prejudices. And until we want to move, until we can actually do that, right, we definitely can't move on as a species or civilization. So I'll just shut up now. Thanks.
I would start clapping right now, but it's not going to go through the mic. But that's exactly. Yeah, see, he's got the mic for it. Yeah, like, yeah. I mean, that's like when one of the biggest Xbox fans loves The Last of Us 2, King David, said what he said, and it was a while back when the game came out, and he said, "This is the greatest game I've ever played." And you know what? I might not have played it, but I've seen the mind F, as we like to call it, to people's brains to realize that there's something more than just the way somebody looks. And I think Naughty Dog did an amazing job doing that, because at the end of the day, you have a beloved character, which it's split. Like, people want the beloved character to succeed and do everything else, but at the same time, the way the character development of Abby came into play actually, you know, broke some people, and they said, well, she's a better human being. And I think that's the way we need to look at each other. Are you a good human being? I don't care about the color of your skin, what religion you look at, your creed, your beliefs, you know, how you've acted. Everybody has done stupid shit in their entire life. Are we going to judge people upon that? There's no reason to. You know what I mean? Like, You're trying to survive in that environment. That's the way I look at it. But that's me.
I've got some excellent points you have.
But if I've
I'll
upset
tell you,
anyone,
VJ.
I was going to say if I've upset anyone with what I said, blame our guest Crispy because he's the one who set me off.
No, it's all good. It's good topics, good conversation.
Blame Crispy. Blame Crispy.
There's some excellent points we've had. Is anyone else got anything they want to say on the subject?
How could we top what? How could we top the way that VJ eloquently put that? It's definitely my sentiments exactly. It's a pointless argument. It's an artistic take. Deal with it. It's just it's where it is, isn't it? I can't put it any more eloquently than VJ did. I really can't. But well said,
True.
sir. Well said.
Very well said, VJ and Crispy Bomb.
Thank you.
I love it. You've been setting VJ off tonight, and the passion is great. It is.
Dude, we all got to live on this earth, man. Either we're going to deal with each other or we're not. And I'll tell you right now, the way my country is, and you know, I think only Paul at this point can really understand what I'm saying. It's pretty divided at this point. And
Crispy, VJ lives in America as well.
Oh, you do?
California, sir.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry for you, sir. Yeah, but you know, our country at this point is so divided, and we're not talking just about like color, religion, you know, thought process on how we approach, like, you know, getting involved in foreign conflicts. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about even gaming at this point. It is very divided, and we continue to be divided. For what reason? We are all human beings. The gosh darn government just confirmed that they have UFOs that they don't know about, and they look at them. Okay? When the gosh darn, you know, when people come from other planets here and come take over our country, our land, the entire world, I don't want to hear about it, because
trust me, if there are people from other planets monitoring this Earth, they're not going to come land and do anything. They're like, oh hell no. That place is a train wreck. That place is a train wreck.
They're gonna wipe us out, bro. They're gonna wipe us out because we're all caught up in our own damn arguments. But the whole point is do we have skin? Do we have blood running through our veins? That's the point, man.
No,
you know what? I'll tell you right now, my cat has cancer, okay? I love her as much as anybody in this freaking planet. Human being as well. I've spent 10 years with this cat, okay? And I'm trying to keep her alive as long as possible, all right? Because I don't think she wants to go and get euthanized. I think if she's going to pass here in my home with me, because that's how much she loves me. And that's the way I look at people as well. Do you love me? Or you can disagree. I don't care. My girlfriend disagrees with me all the time. I still love her, right? So why can't you look at other people, no matter how they look, how they, interpret themselves, and say, you know what? You are a human being. You need love at this point in time. You could be yelling at me, and I'd be like, you need to calm down and let's talk. You need somebody to hear it. And I feel like the problem now is that social media has taken these thumb words, as I like to call them, and turned people into assholes when they're actually crying out for help. That's what I feel like. And somebody needs to go and say, dude, you sound like an idiot right now. You're saying things that nobody would say. But I'm still going to talk to you, and that's what I do sometimes. Before I block somebody, before anything else, I give them my view. And I hope that they learn that what you're saying is wrong. But you know what? That's your opinion. And I don't have to look at it. But I'm at least going to say something because some people just don't have the balls to say something. You know what I mean?
No, I like to think of it as no matter what a person's beliefs, no matter what their attitudes, no matter what they're into, we all put our pants on the same way.
Yeah, that's true.
No, if you all put your pants on the way I do, you're all as broken as me.
I was going to say,
Welcome FC Violent.
One leg after the other, Paul, no matter what.
Okay.
Hey, Crispy, apparently FC Violent, he thought you were living in Canada.
No, we buy Canadian beef lately.
Yeah.
I live in Connecticut. If anybody doesn't know, I live in Connecticut. I live. Xbot lives here. Cybernox lives here, and then Boomstick's right on the outskirts in New York. Like there's a lot of people up here. A lot of people that we've been through a lot of shit, dude. Like hate it or love it. Like, dude, like I get taxed out my ass. We are number 3 or 1 every year for the highest taxes in the entire country. Okay. I don't want to live in this state anymore. It hurts me. So I look at what's hurting me. And I think that's where people's beliefs. I mean, who wants to pay $3 a gallon for gas? Anybody?
Is that all? In California, they're up to 5 again.
But I'm just saying, dude, like, you look at like politicalness and consoleness and, like acting like a bunch of children. Like, do you like what you're getting? Like, Xbox?
It's interesting that a lot of the Xbox stuff that I see does mirror a lot of the political stuff that I see. It's kind of scary, actually.
Well, and Xbox gives us one route right now that is superseding everything else, especially for me, who is spending money on things that I didn't expect to. Is I have Game Pass, and I get to boot up any damn game I want when I want. And there are 300 and something. It's about to hit 400. Okay, games that are in there. Yeah. And if I feel like playing a single player game and getting in my own damn head, that's what I do. Generally, I go multiplayer because I want to talk to people. I want to bullshit. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, getting in my own head is a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Like anybody that hates on Game Pass, I'm sorry, you're wrong, bro. Like just get in here and enjoy what they've given you, and it's gonna get even better. I see this E3 becoming something really special for Xbox because Phil, I feel like, has been churning the butter for so long now. He's like, you finally get to taste the butter. Yeah, and that's what I feel like.
What's funny is for the coming soon stuff for Game Pass, it's really quiet right now. And I know it's because of E3. They're holding back until they can make those announcements.
And I hope that's true, Paul. I do.
Yep, I hope so.
I hope. Yeah.
I mean, really 4 games usually. What was it? What was it like? Freaking like 10 to 15 at one point.
Yeah.
Like they were announcing, like, of course, like when Bethesda got confirmed. You know what I mean? Like,
they're going to go. And this game is in Game Pass now. Some of them.
Yep.
Some of their big drops. They go. And it's available now. They always do that.
Yep.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. But yes, it's been a good show tonight. It's been a really good conversations. It has. Very opinionated and passionate. As always, it's been a very, very good show this week. Thanks for coming on, Crispy. It's been a really good one. It has.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Yeah, we'll have to get you back on at some point. We will, because it's been too. Was it like last year? Last time you came on, it was a while back.
No, it was the beginning of the year, I believe.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was still on a lot of pain.
I had a lot of things going on the back end, and I apologize to anybody that listened to that show. Just a lot of things going on. So, but I mean, I love the talk. You guys are all awesome. The chat is awesome. And yeah, just at Crispy Bomb on Twitter. Come check me out. I do multiple podcasts. We got a couple coming up in the next 2 days, so come check it out.
Yeah, check Crispy Bomb out. Yeah, thanks for coming on. And to the Teacup Man, thanks for coming on, VJ.
Hello. Thanks
for coming on. It's been a good one.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show again. Sorry for going on and on and on for periods of during the show.
It's a good show. People loved it. They loved it, that one, and they were the bit where you went. They loved the whole conversation, but it's when you took everything because you don't like swearing, and you took everyone by surprise by saying twatish. I know, like, the chat lit up.
I don't believe
You're not
that.
a fan of swearing.
I don't believe that is an expletive. I'll have to check.
It is in the UK, I think. Yeah.
If that's as risky as you get, VJ, you have at it, sir. You have at it.
Yes.
No, I don't. I really don't. It just shows me if people start swearing. Occasionally, it's fine. But
blame it on my swearing. It's okay.
But when it's every Crispy, I understand using a swear word. It's just a word at the end of the day, right? And it's the intent and the vibration that you put behind it that gives its meaning, right? Or what you're trying to get across. So I don't mind the occasional use of it. It's just when people use it every other word, right, or every other 3 word, just shows me that it's no point having a conversation with this person. They're just
so it's more powerful
of intellect. Sorry?
So it was more powerful when you said it out of the blue, but it was fitting with what you were saying.
Yeah.
I don't like you. So if it was a swear word, I do apologise. That's just must be me. Must have made a mistake.
No need to.
I generally don't swear, but we got onto topics that made me kind of want to swear because at the end of the day, we're all human beings and we're all gamers.
Yeah, but I think but Crispy, the thing is, what I'm trying to say is that your use of it is measured, right, compared to a lot of people that you otherwise come across. If that makes sense.
That's true. But yes, thanks, VJ. Do you want to? I know you don't want to tell people where you are. But you can if you want.
I'm in California. That'll do. If you want to fight, if you want to come and look for me, please go ahead.
Okay. And Cerebral Paul, thanks for coming on. It's been a great show tonight. Yes. You tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at CerebralPaul1, Twitch at CerebralPaul, YouTube at CerebralPaul, Xbox at CerebralPaul924. On Sunday mornings, you can find me with Noof Nukem on Good Morning Xbox in the wee dark early hours of the morning for many of us at that point. It's so yeah, join us there, and then you can find me here every Wednesday night. And even though it's on hiatus right now because apparently Flamish's PC is in the shop, so it'll be a few weeks before we're back with the Flamish experience. But at some point we'll be back.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's it.
Thanks for coming on. And Animated Evil, thanks for coming on again. It's been a really good show. Yes.
Oh, thank you for having me week in, week out, sir. Of course. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Chat's been amazing. Crispy Bomb, as always, a great bloody pleasure to speak to you. VJ, Cerebral Paul, Stubbs, awesome again. The chat's been brilliant again tonight. For me, the best place is obviously find me on Twitter, animated_evil. I'm also on various podcasts and things like that. Midweek Gaming. I'm on 4GQ TV. And I'm also when I'm not working every weekend, we'll be back on the Flamish Experience. But yeah, find out what I'm up to on Twitter.
We'll see what comes back first. You or the Flemish Experience. So
yeah,
honestly, 7 days a week, dude. It's 7 days a week. It's killing me.
And just got to shout out Retro Renegades, especially last night. Go check out that. I had the Crispy Truth rant of all Crispy Truth rant.
Oh, I've got to check out.
Yes, I had 2 of them.
Oh.
2 of them.
Yes, yeah. So you got to check it out, and of course, I'm always back there in the Retro Renegades, my brothers, as I like to call them.
Yeah, it's a good show. I'm not really, because I'm back at work now. It's hard to catch it and go on it live, but it's always a good show. It is. Retro Renegades. But yes, everyone, you can catch me at Stubbs Gaming on Twitter this Saturday. Hang on. At 5 p.m. EST, 10 p.m. UK time, and 2 p.m. PST. The Stubbs cast returns with Goat Force Gaming. I'm interviewing. So if you want to check that out, please do. It will be available on downloadable platforms later on. And you can catch it on demand. So I know it's Saturday night. Not everyone's going to want to be watching podcasts and stuff. So you can always catch it after. You can.
Before you end, Stubbs.
Yes.
Before you end, I want to do a shameless plug for Mr. Tushy and my own community game night on a Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Hit us up on Xbox, on Twitter. You'll find out where we are. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Do you know what games you've got?
We have got F1 on Friday, then we have got Sniper Elite 4 and something else on Saturday. That Hot Shot Racing. There we go. Hot Shot Racing on Saturday.
Ooh.
Everyone is welcome.
Good.
Hope to see you all there. Yep. Sorry for cutting you off there, Stubbs.
No, you're fine.
Tushy would never forgive me. In his absence, I couldn't let him.
Yeah, I was gonna think he's gonna end it without saying it, and then I can take the piss. I can, but no, you've done it. You've remembered. And also, if you'd like to catch the Indie Games YouTube channel, this Saturday he's doing Guerrilla Collective live reaction. It's the Guerrilla Collective Indie Games Showcase live reaction co-stream, so that'll be fun. There'll be an excellent panel there. So that's at 3:30 p.m. UK time. I don't know what that is for the rest of the world, but so check it out. It's always good to get Indie's reactions. He always has well vetted people on that are passionate about indie games. So if you want to check that out, that'll be a good show to check out. So anyway, thanks for coming on, everyone, the panel and Crispy Bomb and everyone in chat. It's been a fun one, and we will see you next week.
It's been emotional.